Am I in focus?
I don't know. Ooh, dust. You can see. You can see all the dust because there's a light on it now. Oh my god. Hey guys, and welcome back to Better Off Reading. My name is Michelle, if you don't know, and today I'm going to be talking about the books I got at thrift stores. One of my favorite things to do is to go to Goodwill and see what they have there. My whole flannel collection is from Goodwill, but one of the things I like to find at Goodwill are books, because I really like books, but as any good book lover knows, they're expensive as all anything if you buy them new. So I really enjoy going to Goodwill and finding a book that I was looking for $1 or $2. That's like my favorite thing in the world. So I have 13 books to show you. The majority of them are from Goodwill, but I also have a couple from the Salvation Army. The first category I have is fiction books. It's actually the smallest category I have, which is kind of funny. The first book I picked up was Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe? God, I am so sorry if I mispronounced that name. But I feel like this is one of the books that keeps coming up in books you should read in your lifetime. And I saw it at the Salvation Army for 50 cents, so I thought it was the perfect time to pick it up and read it. So this book is set in Nigeria, and it's split between two stories, and it has a lot to do with imperialism in Africa. The next two books I picked up are from the same series, and they are both by Rebecca Wells. So these are a continuation of The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, and that is actually one of my favorite books. There's something about these characters that are very human, and I like how it has that aspect of a book about friendship, but also it goes into each individual character's lives. I also really like the movie, fun fact. But I feel like this series is always in Goodwill. There's always like a copy of one of these books just kind of floating around. So I figured it was finally time to pick up the last 3 in this series and read it and see if it's just as good as that first book. So the next category I have is memoirs. I'm kind of a sucker for a good memoir, and I find Goodwill has just a lot of memoirs constantly for some reason. But I like that you can find a whole bunch of different memoirs at Goodwill, because some of them are really old and some of them are pretty new. So anyway, I picked up Me by Katharine Hepburn, and it's just stories from her life. As I said, I'll pretty much read anybody's memoir. I get something from each and every one of them. But yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to read about this actress's life. So I never in a million years thought I would pick this book up. It was a book that was kind of popular for a long time, and then I was like, oh, it's not for me. But one of my favorite YouTubers, Jacqueline Levine? Anyway, she's a beauty YouTuber, but this is actually one of her favorite books, and it's Eat, Pray, Love. So I saw this on the shelf and had recently watched a video of hers where she said she loved this book, so I figured might as well pick it up for $1 because it was actually on sale from $2. Yeah, if you haven't heard of this book before, it's about a woman who is going through a crisis in her life and travels the world. And in each of her destinations, she learns a lesson. So the last memoir I picked up was 700 Sundays by Billy Crystal. And Billy Crystal just makes me laugh. I think he's a really funny actor, and one of my favorite movies is When Harry Met Sally. So I figured that this would be a fun book to read and pick up. Yeah, it's stories from his life, but mainly the relationship between him and his dad. All the books I have left are nonfiction books. This book kind of falls in the category of memoir, but also kind of falls in the category of nonfiction because it's about a bunch of different women. This is Reading Lolita in Tehran by Azar Nafisi. and sorry for the pronunciation, but it is about women in Tehran reading Lolita, and all the different women's experiences in Tehran, and what they think of the book, and it just seems very interesting. I think I saw this author on a TED Talk, which is why I picked it up when I saw the title. I was like, oh, I liked the TED Talk, I have to go read the book. The next book I found at Goodwill was Mountains Beyond Mountains by Tracy Kidder. This also kind of falls into one of the books that keeps coming up as everyone should read this book. So I saw it and picked it up. But it's about a man who travels around the world and goes to developing nations and tries to cure disease there. The next book I picked up actually was, I remember it being on one of the required reading lists in high school. It was like, you know those ones where you had like 20 books and you could pick 2 of them to read or something like that. Anyway, so I remember The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat by Oliver Sacks being on that list. And basically it's a book about people who have psychological issues, but it's supposed to be a little humorous, and it's supposed to be really good. This next book is probably the oddest one I picked up, but it's called Stiff, and it's The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers by Mary Roach. And I don't know, I saw this one and I was like, I've never read a book about that, and it sounded like an interesting topic to say the least. It sounds a little dark, but that's okay. Yeah, so I saw this book and was just like, oh, what in the world is that going to be about? The last 2 books are both kind of outdoorsy books. I live in Maine, and for some reason there's just always a lot of outdoor books at my local Goodwill. And every once in a while one pops up that I have to read. So this first one is called Mountains Without Handrails, Reflections on the National Parks by Joseph L. Sachs. And this is definitely a book of essays. Basically, he talks about all the problems facing our national parks today and what we can do to help. Yeah, this book's probably not for everybody, but this book sounded super fascinating to me, personally. And then the last book I have is a collection of stories on mountain climbing called Epic. And it's put together by Clint Wills. And I'm not gonna lie, I picked up this book because I saw John Krakauer on the title. He's one of my favorite authors, and I thought it would be interesting to read not only his essay on climbing mountains, but also everyone else's. I don't know, this book just kind of appealed to the adventurous part of me who likes to sit on the couch and read about other people having adventures. Yeah, so that's all 13 books I picked up. As you can tell, I like to read a wide variety of things. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe or follow me on Instagram. I'm also Better Off Reading on there. So, bye guys, have a great day. Happy reading.